Yo, what is up, guys? Robin Goblin here, bringing you a deck list for my Elemental Hero Mass Change deck. Forgive me, I am a little sick right now, but you'll get past it. This is a very budget deck, not running a lot of expensive cards in it, just because I don't really have the money for them right now. And I probably won't ever buy them just because I don't feel like it's appropriate spending $30 on Solemn Strike. But hey, if you want to do that, go ahead. I'm not judging. Alright, so first off, obviously we've got our 3 Elemental Hero Shadow Mists. This is our Searcher card. This, when it's special summoned, we get a quick spell mass change, which is very convenient. It makes a quick Dark Law first game very often. Another neat effect that it has is when it's sent to the field to the graveyard. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, when it's sent to the field to the graveyard, or actually not, it doesn't have to be the field. When it's sent to the graveyard, you can search for an Elemental Hero monster that is not Shadow Mist. So that comes in handy a lot. I'm just gonna move that over there a bit. Alright. Next up, we've got the 3 Bubblemans, of course. Very appropriate for the deck. This card has saved my ass in a couple of duels. When he's the only card in your hand, you can special summon him on the field. Very nice for multiple plays. Very good. You need this. You need to run 3 in your deck. Some people run 2. I actually run 3. It's helped me out a lot. Let's see here. Give me a quick second, guys. Alright, next up I run 3 Tin Goldfish. I actually just picked these up not too long ago. These have been very helpful in the deck as well. In my opinion, they're still better. They're way better than Goblindbergh. I still run Goblindbergh, but Tin Goldfish is still amazing. I love this card. Normal summon. You can special summon a level 4 from your hand. Special summon Shadow Mist right here. Grab your quick your mass change and get that Dark Law out on the field. So Tin Goldfish is also a must at 3 right there. And then I also run 2 Goblindbergh just because you can't always open up with Tin Goldfish, and Goblindbergh is your best bet after that. Pretty much the same thing as Tin Goldfish, but Tin Goldfish works faster than Goblindbergh. When you normal summon Goblindbergh, you actually have to put him to defense position first before you get that special summon on the field. But he's also a necessity in this deck. I really recommend him at 2. And then let's see, I've also got 2 Summoner Monk. Summoner Monk is really relevant in this deck because he also gets that special summon of Shadow Mist right off the bat. I run a high quantity of magics in this magic cards in this deck. A lot of times I will open up with Summoner Monk and a magic card in my hand, so this really helps out a lot. Like super relevant to run 2, at least 2 in this deck. I've really messed around with playing 3, but I feel like 2 is enough because I'm running 3 Goldfish now and 2 Goblindbergh, so I think 2 Summoner Monk is enough, you know. I'm also running 3 one-ofs. I've got Armageddon Knight, which has a really neat effect when you run in combination with Blackwing Zephyros the Elite. So when this card's normal summoned, you get to send 1 dark monster from your deck to the graveyard, and what you want to send to the graveyard is Zephyros the Elite, because when this is in the graveyard, you can pay 400 life points, which is a bargain, and to return something from the field back to your hand and place that bad boy and special summon it. So what the play is normally is you'll have Bubbleman. Let's see. You'll have Bubbleman on the field right here, right? And then you'll have this guy. You use his effect, toss him to the grave. You use his effect, pay the 400 measly life points, return Bubbleman. Ideally, Bubbleman is the only card in your hand. Special summon Bubbleman. There you go. You got 3 monsters right off the bat. And then a lot of the times though, you'll also have one more on the field, so that's 2 XC summons right off the bat. And I'll get into my my extra decks a little later. So yeah, that's pretty much the play that I do a lot. I can't remember where I got it from. I wish I remembered so I can give the guy who I got it from you know, props, because it's a really good play. And then I also run a Maxx C, because I mean, you have to run at least one Maxx C in your deck. So those are the monsters right there, everybody. Let me get into the trap lineup. So traps, I'm running two ofs. First off, I've got 2 Fiendish Chains in this deck, which is really good. I love this card. People still get surprised when I play it, because not a lot of people run Fiendish Chain, but really relevant, super cheap card, really good too in stopping those effect monster plays. So yeah, 2 Fiendish Chains. I run 2 Black Horn of Heavens. I've actually messed around with trying to run 3, but I feel that 2 is perfect. 3 gets a little cloggy. You don't need that many. This is pretty much your Solemn Strike replacement, or Solemn Warning double. So this card's really good. When your opponent would special summon a monster, negate that summon and destroy it. So that's really neat too. And then I'm running a lot of 1-ofs. I'm running a Torrential Tribute, which is really good in this deck. I love it. A Treacherous Trap Hole because of the extra deck monster that I'll show you guys in a bit. A Breakthrough Skill. Sometimes I really want to bump this up to 2, but I feel like I'm running a lot of traps and magic cards already, so I think 1 is fine. A Bottomless Trap Hole, because every deck needs a Bottomless. A Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. Again, I'll refer back to my trap plays when I come back to them with my extra deck. And then a Solemn Warning, because it's at 1. It's a pretty cheap card, so we run 1 of them. All right, so pretty short trap lineup, but again, I'm going to refer to some of my trap cards when we get back to them. When we mess around with my extra deck. So now the magics, of course, you got to run 3 mass changes in this deck. You have to. A really relevant card for this deck. All right. Also at 3 Hero Lives. Ideally, you want to open up with this card. This card is super good. Pay half your life points, which isn't really a big deal, in order for you to establish a first turn great board. So you want to grab this. You want to open up with a Hero Lives. Super good card. 3 emergency calls. I'm actually debating on dropping it down to 2. Not too sure yet, but we'll see. I like the 3, but I feel like the 3 can also get too cloggy at times. But it's good right now, so I leave it. But might take it to 2. I run 2 M.S.Ts. I wish that I was running Twin Twisters in this deck, but I'm not, unfortunately. I think ideally what would be good for this deck, I don't even actually think that Twin Twisters would be good in this deck though, because you do have to discard, and I mean, other than Blackwing Zephyros, you don't really want to be discarding monsters, but I guess you can discard your magics that you don't need, or your traps that you don't want to use. But if I had to, I would probably just add maybe 1 Twin Twisters to this deck, and keep the 2 M.S.Ts. I'd probably do that. And then I also do run 3 1-ofs. I run Reinforcement of the Army. You have to. It's your searcher. You get to search for what was it? You get to search for Shadow Mist. Really good card. It's at 1, so we run 1. You get instant fusion for the Norden plays. Oh, come on. There's no other reason to run this card. If there is, let me know, because I don't know of any. And then we will run a Upstart Goblin for the 39 card deck. Super relevant, super helpful with consistency. You gotta run the Upstart Goblin. A little weird having to give your opponent 1,000 life points, but it's no big deal in order to get that extra draw. Alright, now we move on to the almighty extra deck. So right here, we'll start off with Am I missing one? Ah, oops, here we go. I was like, where's my other Dark Law? Okay, so we run 2 Dark Laws. It's super good, and I mean, easy. You can get this guy out first turn no matter what sometimes. Yeah, super easy card to bring out. Really nice to have at 2. You don't really need 3. I've never dueled anybody bringing him out 3 times. Ridiculous. You don't want to do that anyway. You don't want to use all 3 of your mass changes on Dark Law. So 2 Dark Laws is perfect. We are at 1 Norden because Norden is at 1, so we run 1. Good for that special summon of Shadow Mist or anything else. Anki. I don't really bring out Anki, but he's a 28 beater, so he's really strong in this deck because you can't really rely on Dark Law to get over high attack monsters. So Anki is your next guy. And then we've got a Acid. I just came up with Acid, and it's a really good card. For those of you who don't know, you can use Bubbleman and a mass change to bring out Acid because they are both water. And what Acid does is upon special summon, you pretty much destroy your opponent's back row. It's pretty much a Grand Trunade, except it's a fusion monster. You run him. I mean, I run him at 1. He's kind of pricey. I think I paid $10 for him, maybe 8. I can't remember. But he's a really good card in this deck as well. And then I also run an Excalibur, really good. Detach 2, gains 2,000 attack for till your opponent's end phase, which has really gotten, which is really helpful when your opponent doesn't have anything. So you can direct hit for 4K, which is perfect, really good. All right, Direwolf. I don't really use Direwolf too much because I don't think his effect is good, but I still run him just in case. You detach, target itself, target another monster or back row in your opponent's field, and destroy both targets. I run a Rhapsody in Berserker, which is a really good card as well. Let me read you guys the effect. You can target one face-up XYZ monster you control. Equip this monster you control to that target. It gains 1,200 attack. So imagine attaching this guy to Excalibur after you've already used Excalibur's effect. So that's at right there 52k, or sorry, 5,200 attack, not 52k. It's got a second effect, or not a second effect. You can also detach one XYZ material from this card, then target one card in your opponent's graveyard, banish that target. That's really good also. And you can you can use this effect up to twice per turn. So that's perfect. You detach 2, then banish 2 of your opponent's graveyard monsters, which is really good. And then after you use that effect, which you're going to want to do, since it's got no more materials, just attach it to one of your XYZs, which is perfect. So I run him, really relevant card, also really good. Don't want that shining, really. Okay, so I've got a Castel, which he's a super good card. Detach 2, shuffle any face-up monster on the field. Yeah, shuffle it back to the deck or the extra deck. So it's really good. Detach 1, put that target in face-down defense position. Really good card. I run him at 1, super good. And then I've got a Utopic Future. Don't really use this guy too much, but he's really fun to use sometimes, I guess. You have to overlay him with 2 of your XYZ non-number monsters, so I would do probably Castel and Direwolf or something like that, or just an example. Really good card. Yeah, he's alright, I guess. He's alright. And I run a 1 Steelswarm Roach. Really good to open up with this card. During either player's turn, when a level 5 or higher monster would be special summoned, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, negate the special summon, and destroy it. Really good effect, and it is not limited by using it only once per turn, and it's during either player's turn. So you can actually use this guy's effect twice during your opponent's turn, which is super neat. I love it. And then I've got Silent Honor Arc, or another relevant card, super good. detach both materials, and then grab one of your opponent's monsters and use it as a material. The only thing that is, it has to be special summoned. It has to be a special summon monster in face of attack position. Can't be defense, and it can't be a normal summon. So you want to use this for your opponent's extra deck monsters most of the time. But another thing with this card is if it's, what is it called? If it's would be destroyed, you can detach that monster and pretty much it's still alive. It's still on the field, still a live card. Really good. Gotten me out of sticky situations. I love this card. Alright. Next up we've got Gaga Cowboy. Don't really use him too much. But you know, when your opponent's at 800 life points, bring this bad boy out in defense position, and that's game right there. Abyss Dweller, really good with the with matchups that use graveyard effects. Pretty much you detach one during either player's turn also, and your opponent cannot use graveyard effects for that entire turn. Which is a really good effect against Abyss Dweller matchups, DDD matchups. Super relevant card. I love this card. Has gotten me out of a lot of sticky situations as well. And then my favorite XYZ monster, Rafflesia. Now as I was saying that I was going to get back to some of my trap cards, Traptrix Rafflesia. Let me actually get some of these out of the way really quick to give some explanation for Rafflesia. Now what Rafflesia does is it actually isn't affected by your opponent's trap cards, and it's you can activate any whole card during either player's turn, and pretty much let me show you what I've got for my whole card. So the one I really love right now is Treacherous Trap Hole. The only requirement for activation is that you cannot have any trap cards in your graveyard. So ideally what the play is, you want to open up with a Dark Law. Let me just show you guys really quick. You want to open up with a Dark Law, and you want to have a Traptrix on the field. Let's just give this Traptrix some materials. So let's see. So I've got Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare, which negates and destroys a special summon monster the turn it activates its effect. Also the turn it was summoned, though. It has to be the turn it was summoned, which is a really good card. And then I also won the Treacherous Trap Hole. Destroy 2 or more monsters on the field. Again, you cannot have trap cards in your graveyard. And then I've got the Bottomless. Everybody knows what Bottomless does. And then, well, that's about it. But ideally, you want to have Traptrix out on your first turn. First turn, obviously you will not have any trap cards in the graveyard at all. So you would activate Trap Hole Nightmare on your opponent's turn. And when those cards are destroyed, since Dark Law is on the field, they do not get sent to the graveyard. They actually get banished. So that's really my favorite combo. Unfortunately, you can only use her effect once per turn, and she's a really good defense for Dark Law here. But I think that pretty much wraps up my deck list for my Masked Hero deck profile. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you guys agree with some of my decisions on my cards. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching, and leave a comment if you guys have any suggestions, things that I should add to my deck. Really appreciate you guys tuning in, and thank you very much. Alright, excuse my sickness again. My voice keeps cracking. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, have a good one. Peace.